you're just going to let StreamYard capture it all.
I'm just going to let StreamYard do it and, cross my fingers. So hopefully this all works out and we get a playable episode off of this. Hey everyone, I'm Ryan.
And I'm Steve, and this is 60 Cycle Hum, the guitar buying, selling, trading, modding, mixing, breaking, reviewing,
We're back. We're making our best effort to do a podcast in the face of the plague, which I've contracted, thanks to NAMM, which we're going to talk about this episode. We didn't do a recap on NAMM.
You died. No,
I died a little bit. Yeah.
How's that going? Are you still testing? Are you still positive? You still feeling positive?
I haven't tested again yet. I tested like the day after I started having major symptoms. I was like, this is ridiculous. I got to test. I got a bunch of tests here. I'm going to do it. I figured I would test before needing to do anything major. But I am on the mend. I had a really, really tough time this past week, and it hit me a lot harder than I was expecting it to. I'm vaxxed up and stuff, and I have to assume that it would have been a lot worse if I wasn't vaxxed. My wife caught it a year or so ago, and she was vaxxed, and she said that the symptoms that she had was less than when she got the vaccine initially. So I have to assume that this is less than it would have been for me, which is scary because man, it really trashed me. And I still feel trashed. It's almost a full week later since having my first symptoms showing up. And I just feel weak and exhausted. Like if I go up the stairs or stand up too quickly, then it's like I have to sit down afterwards and like wait for my muscles to reabsorb some energy from my bones or something. Is that how bodies work?
Yes. Your bones is where you store all of your energy. That's why when you get older and you're not eating as much, your bones start to shrink.
Yeah, because your bones don't have as much power in them. You need powerful bones.
Yeah, that's why there was, that's why He-Man said by the power of Gray Skull.
Right.
That skull, it was because
That's
it was
source
gray.
Of power.
Gray is actually the highest energy color.
Right.
As a graphic designer, you should know that.
Oh, I know. Gray is the highest energy color. Like when you think about flames, like there's red flame, which is actually kind of cool. Then you get orange flame and yellow flame. Things are getting hot. When you get up to the blue flames, oh my gosh. Then you get a gray flame. That's like a laser.
It's through the roof.
I mean, think about, Star Wars right now. They got that black lightsaber, and that's apparently a big deal. Eventually you get hotter than gray and you get black, and then, that's it.
Black is actually the hottest color because it's all of the colors. But it's also a shade, so I don't really include it.
Yeah, it's a lot of different things that people could argue about when it comes to color theory and all sorts of stuff like that. So should we do what we decided we were going to do this episode?
Let's recap NAMM.
We've got
2 weeks later.
We got a whole bunch of photos here. This is we kind of just dumped everything, and you dumped like 5 photos, and 4 of them are of me. And then I dumped like 30 photos, and I think maybe a couple of them are of you. I don't know, but
all of these pictures were all the pictures I took of you were at this Clontar.
Right.
The Chipson Clontar. That shirt was also a big hit.
People love that shirt.
Hi, I'm Ryan, and I'm a Mormon.
That's what everyone was assuming, because the tag would just like cover it a little bit, and they're like, "What's this all about?" And then they'd have a nice little chuckle and a laugh. So, anyways, this is holding the Chibson Klon Centaur guitar, which was a fun gag.
Is it supposed to be like a letter K, or is it supposed to be like? But it's also kind of the body shape. A little bit of like I couldn't decide what the body shape was supposed to be.
I have to say I do like this shape quite a bit more than I would have expected to. Like it's kind of ergonomic, more than you would expect it to. It has a fun kind of like Jetson spacey thing going on. It's got a swept wing hiding in it, and it has an arrowhead stock. Like I kind of want this to be a guitar that I can get. Not for the Klon part, because that's like a fun silly joke, but like for that body shape, you throw a wiggle stick on there and I'm going to be into that.
Yeah. One of the things that was being discussed with this is, so I think maybe a picture or two, there we go, with Jason USA,
Yeah.
the owner and operator of Chipson, was telling us how the Centaur circuit is, or the clone circuit, the clonkalone
The
circuit,
Klon Cologne.
is completely separate from the guitar circuit. So
Yeah.
you can engage it, and actually in one of the demos, or it might have been at the unveiling
No,
here.
that's the joke of it, is that it's like, you think your initial thought is like, oh, it's a Klon in a guitar, so you plug in and you've got Klon tones. No, you have to plug another guitar into the guitar, and the
Yeah,
guitar is the pedal.
yeah.
Like, that's what's going on here, and it's
I mean,
so
you can plug the
stupid. It's
guitar in.
brilliant.
You can plug the guitar into the pedal as well, I believe.
Right? What's that called? Like,
Like
jack it over or
daisy
something like
chain
that.
it. Yeah.
Daisy chain the guitar into the pedal from the guitar. You have to like hot wire it. What is it called when you put in a patch cable in between channels on an amp? Called like a jumper cable? Like, you know what I'm talking about? Like, that's what you have to do with it. You have to like
Yeah,
bridge it
it's
over.
like cable jumping or whatever, bridging.
Yeah, yeah. So, anyways, that thing's fun. Who is this guy?
So this is Rumi. He is a YouTuber.
Oh
His YouTube
yeah,
channel is Rumi Official. I think he's probably actually the biggest YouTuber that I saw. He has 7.5 million subs.
damn.
And he's like, for a long time he did like daily videos, and actually he was talking this. I heard him talking to someone about it. I never knew this was his reasoning, but he was talking to someone about it, and he said that the reason he does daily, and his daily videos are always like fun, like what was better, the hits of the 80s or the hits of now, and he's just pulling out like his producers, let's compare, I want to dance with somebody with whatever song Dua Lipa just came out with, and so he'll make some commentary about the two songs and then decide which one he thinks is better. But it's all this very like short format, like maybe 15-20 minute video. And he said, I forget, he might have been talking to Mary Spender about it. I don't remember exactly who he was talking to at the time, but he said that like his goal was the reason he was making daily content was because he wanted to be like something that people could watch in the middle of like their workday, like on their lunch break. They
Right,
could like sit down with their sandwich and watch one video and like feel good about their day.
right.
I was like, man, we need to do daily content, but I'm just gonna. All of my content will be very like depressing.
Knock yourself out, Steve.
But I
It's like,
saw him. I was talking.
sit there and vlog.
I was talking to Charlie Cooper, who was telling me like the entire orange amplifier story,
Hmm.
and Joel walks by, and I just like was like, Charlie, stop. And I called him over. I'm like, I need to get a selfie with you, man, because Melissa and I will watch Rumi. Like he's one of our late night YouTube watches.
Right, right.
So,
I've never seen
so
him
that
before.
was
I'll
just a
have to
thing.
check him out.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
it's fun.
it was a wild party. Like, we'd gone to
Yeah.
that party before, but it's usually like in the middle of winter. Like, all the YouTubers kind of meet up at this like pool bar, like one of the pool bars in the area, and we hang out for a bit. And because it's normally winter when we do it, it's usually kind of like like 10 people show up out for an hour and then we leave. But because it was warm, like everyone was there and everyone hung out, and it was pretty wild. I don't have any other photos from that here. I think everything else I uploaded is photos from the floor.
Well,
This
you posted your one video, which was from early at that party.
Yeah. What was your thought on that video? Did you watch it?
Yeah, it was intrusive.
I decided that I needed to publish it because it was the only thing I filmed at
Mm.
NAMM. But I have kind of mixed feelings on it. And on one side, it's like, man, this is amazing that we're all there and there's so many like big names there and we were there too and stuff like that. And on the other side of it is like, man, that was like day 3 of my trip and I was completely fried and my voice was blown out and I was like kind of like manically excited to be done with NAMM and really, really over the top, like talking to everyone and stumbling over my words and stuff. And, you know, I was one Long Island tea deep into that night already, and it was hitting me hard. And like, this is kind of embarrassing, but it's also kind of cool. I felt a little cringy when I
Once
rewatched it.
you stood up, and I think there were people where you were just like naming, and then
Well, that was my goal. Is I was trying to get it done really, really fast, and then I
then like
hovered on Paul David's and spent too
but
much time on Paul.
but like also there were people that you're like uh so like Steve, Samurai guitarist,
Right,
not me. Like you come by and you're like, there's Samurai guitars, and he like looks up and you're moving the camera away and you just see him be like, what the hell just happened? And
right,
I
right.
think that
No,
was like a lot of people were like, what is that guy doing? What is happening
yeah.
right now?
That was when I was watching. I was like, maybe I should ask all these people if it's okay to publish this. And I was like, no, we all whore ourselves out for video every
I
single
mean,
day. No one's
that
gonna
is
care.
true. That is true.
Yeah. I'm the one who's embarrassing himself with this thing. But you know, a decent amount of people seem to enjoy it. So I'm glad that I did publish it. It's one of those things where, you know, it is what it is, you know. So, anyways, here's a guitar that caught my eye on the NAMM floor. This is actually from a local builder, Iconic. They
Oh yeah,
do
yeah.
like
They're in
super,
Carlsbad, I think, right? In
yeah,
St. Louis,
yeah.
something like that.
They always have really striking finishes, and you can see
Yeah.
like the temperature checking in this, and
Mhm.
the photo really doesn't do it justice. Like when you move this thing around, like the clear coat on it over silver sparkle, it looks like it's made out of broken glass. Like
Oh yeah, you were with this one. You really only see the checking too in one
right.
dimension, or like in 2D, right? So as you rotate the thing, it you start seeing other layers of checking that you don't capture at any given single angle.
It
So
was
I mean, here
stunning.
you're probably seeing like 75% of the checking, but
Yeah.
as you would rotate it, you would start seeing other
It had
checking that you just wouldn't see.
like a holographic element to it, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
Yeah. And then here's the headstock and the full guitar.
yeah. They make
Uh
really good playing guitars.
yeah.
They
I'm
were
not
at
a
I think I heard about them at or I found out about them at the Quilter event we did, years
mm,
ago.
I think I played them for the first time at a summer NAMM, which is funny because they're local, and I
Oh,
found out about them at in Nashville. You know,
there's a couple local builders that have that we don't work with for, no one has to work with us.
it's
But
not possible to work with everyone, so it's like
yeah,
there's no excuses
but
needed.
Iconic
You know.
is local. Josh
Also, I
Williams
think
Guitars, I think, is local as well.
yeah. They're just, they're really far outside of the price point of like, hey, let's market this on a
Right.
YouTube channel. They're all like $3,000 and up and stuff like that. So at that point, like you're not sending out a sample to a YouTuber,
Yeah.
they're selling every single one and doing just fine. This one I took a photo of just because I like how funky some of their shapes were.
Hmm.
Viper guitars. Uh this was I shot this one because it was out front, but a bunch of them had this really fun kind of wonky lower horn thing going on, and I actually kind of really like that headstock shape too.
Yeah, the bodies are very it's funny because I feel like um the bodies are very like Dean. Is it the Cadillac model I'm thinking of that this is
I
uh
I look
built?
at it and I think of the Music Vox Space Cadets, but just a little bit more,
Mm,
quite a bit more pulled back than that, but still kind of a wacky like claymation sort of liquid sort of shape going on, you
yeah,
know?
there's a specific I don't it's not the Cadillac because I just looked it up. I don't
Yeah.
know which specific model it is, but they're less they have a model that has that like extra deep single cut
Yeah, yeah.
thing going on.
Like
I'm not.
I get the impression that they were trying to do like a really deep ergonomic thing
Mhm.
and then maybe weren't 100%, you know, self-aware that it results in this very funky fun, cartoony sort of look, because
Yeah.
the way the booth is presented is like, here you go, here are some performance guitars. But then you look at the headstock and like they kind of have to know that it's kind of got this, wacky thing going on.
I really like that headstock. I think that
I do
headstock's really
too.
cool.
I usually don't like, for the realities of tuning stability and stuff like that, like the Dean style V split out headstock is not technically ideal, but man, you can't argue with the looks. It's a fun look.
Yeah.
What's next up here? Oh yeah, the Cream guitars. This was a new company, and I didn't get enough like close up shots of these things
Oh,
because I was just
they're
looking at
really
them.
interesting. They have a lot
Yeah,
going on.
this finish. Oh my
Um,
gosh, I wish I took in a video of this finish. It looks like, clearly it looks three-dimensional because it is three-dimensional. It's a situation.
yeah.
And for me to get excited about this being done on a guitar means that it's being done in a really new and interesting way. It is a resin pour over a
Yeah.
three-dimensional carve, which resulted in this really, really fun look.
Yeah.
I think Cream Guitars was kind of like my standout of like, these guys are doing something legitimately different. There was a couple edges on them where I was like, this is very prototypey, or this is very like kind of first run sort of situation where, you get a little quality control issues with the way like binding connects to, the neck heel and things like that. But man, they're just stunning and fun to look at.
Yeah.
And you
I
can,
can't even find their website, which is
oops.
interesting, I guess. I don't know if interesting is the right word. But yeah, I'm not seeing there's Cream Guitars. I found their Twitter account. I just want to know what their website is. It's creamguitars.com. Why does that their SEO just must not work? But they're based in so they operate out of Mexico, but I think they
They mentioned
all of their guitar
Texas a couple
yeah,
times.
all their guitars. I think they have like a distribution center in Texas, but the team that's doing the building and everything is down in Mexico. So this is,
Right.
I don't know what their background is, but their models are really cool. I really like their shapes. They're the very unique shape set with
Yeah,
their two
that
models.
that reverse explorer is a lot of fun. And I like the beveling on the edges and stuff, and the colors and the finishes and everything. It's amazing. I want to point out the headstock. The
Yeah.
headstock is multiple materials combined together for this honestly really cool look. I'm a bit of a stickler for headstock looks, so this catching my eye is like a big deal to me. But it's like, that part is wood right there, and then this part is a chunk of metal that's been milled out and it's screwed to it, and then this clear part is more epoxy that's been poured, and their logo is like floating in the epoxy in like a three-dimensional sort of way. Like, it's a really cool look and concepts. Like
Yeah.
they kind of threw the kitchen sink at this thing as far as
Well,
like new looks go.
you know what you haven't mentioned on here, which there it is. That's what I was
Yeah,
about to talk about. That is
it's got a secret hidden middle pickup.
yeah, so they put in a Seymour Duncan quarter pounder, which is a super hot.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's the quarter pound Strat. I'd have to imagine maybe it's a quarter pound Strat. But it's underneath the pick guard.
and
And you were
he was
he explained it
explaining
to
that
you.
that it's meant to be like a bass boost. Like, it's not meant to be
Mm,
like, oh, you use this as a standalone pickup. Like, you blend it in to bring in more lows into your
yeah,
signal. Like, that's the concept there. Well, I
yeah.
didn't actually get to try it, but
Oh, okay.
he had a bunch of stuff that was like kind of wild concepts that
Yeah,
were
they
very
all have
innovative.
like brass plates on the back to like
Hmm.
increase
Well, they do the thing.
resonance or whatever.
Yeah, that's another trick they threw at it. It's got one of those things where and I wish I had a picture of that because it was custom cut to be their logo.
Yeah,
It's very blinged out. It's one of those things where you connect the neck pocket to the string saddles with a big long brass plate going down the back of it. Cool stuff. This is a
yeah.
photo of me and I forget this guy's name on the left. I think it's Dan or David or something like that. I'm friends with him on Facebook. I forget everyone's name and I hate it. But the guy in the middle is Elliot from the Cars.
Yeah, Elliot Easton.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
you go. You remember his name. Man, I feel so bad. Guy on the left, I'm so sorry that I forgot your name. I feel like an asshole every time I do that.
Well, that's because
Forget
you
people's
are.
names. I am an asshole. So this is a guitar that Perfecto pointed out at the Shabbat booth. Oh, I thought I had a picture of Perfecto holding it. I guess I don't. Maybe it's going to come up later, but that caught my eye. That fun kind of like aqua to silver and gold burst jazz master sort of thing.
Yeah. Who
Very
is
sharp
this
looking.
made by? Do you remember?
Shabbat guitars.
Oh, Shabbat. Right. You
Yeah,
said
yeah,
that.
yeah. Originally, I was supposed to be, like staying in the same hotel as Henning and Andy, and they were going to go have a meeting with Shabbat, and I was going to go hang out with them and spend like half a day with this guy or whatever, and then that all fell through.
And there's fake Phil McKnight is in the background of that one.
You're right. Hey, fake Phil McKnight. You think he's the guy who was running around taking photos for Phil?
No, the fake Phil, the guy who. So it's funny because we were like super confused because we got tagged on Phil McKnight's Instagram,
Yeah.
congratulating us on 100K,
And we're like, where
and
was Phil? He didn't say
yeah,
hi.
and it turned out he had a channel, basically a Instagram channel, whatever, take over during NAMM. So he had
Gotcha.
somebody who got in,
But
who
also,
was just doing all the
Trey
photos for him.
Trey from Gear Gods did a video where he was going around NAMM and spotting people who looked like.
Oh yeah,
You
yeah,
see that one? He's like, oh,
yeah.
here's here's Wish.com version of this person. Here's Wish.com version of that person. It was fun. It was a fun video from Trey. I took a picture of this just for you, Steve. This was at the Proco booth, and it's a sports announcer switch. This is the stuff they're making when they're not making rats.
Is that just like a cough button?
I think it's just it's a hard on button. So it's like not a hard on button. I mean, maybe it gives you a hard on, but it's like it's always muted until you press it, sort of thing. Because with for sportscasting, you're in a really noisy place.
Yeah.
And so you want to flick it on when you're using it. It's just funny to look at the other stuff that Proco makes and realize like they really throw the vast majority of their business at things other than the rat. Like the rat, like they still act like confused that the rat is popular.
Oh yeah.
Nothing else that they make is like trying to be like guitar equipment. It's like, hey, we made this box with a switch for sportscasters. I kind of thought it would be fun to get one of those for you. I don't know.
What am I going to do with it, Ryan?
I don't know. I put it on your shelf and be like, here we go.
So you are correct. It's a talk to push to talk system.
You know what it would be good for is for that microphone pedal board we were talking about.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Because you just flick it on really quick. We'd have to have a third microphone around when we're using it, but whatever. So this is, one of the few dumb accessories I took photos of. And not dumb, but it's like, I kind of get it, but it's kind of like, if I saw someone using this on a stage, brass knuckles mic holder sort of thing, I'd be like, come on.
This is for the person. I don't know. I can't even think of a good joke with this.
Right.
This is for, it's like, I don't know, you couldn't hold on the microphone. You're worried about it like falling out of your hand. So you got this thing, I guess. Maybe this is like if you don't have a thumb.
No, it's for a band. It's a stage gimmick. It's for a band that has like a fighting reputation, like.
Oh, yeah, you're a real tough guy with your brass knuckle.
Don't get on the stage. The singer will punch you right in the teeth. So this is a fun booth, and I actually have something to show from this booth.
Oh yeah. This was they're really cool. There was someone else. Phil X is endorsing, I think, this company, and people are like, "What the hell, Phil X?"
So this is the company. I'll take this down for a second to show my screen. This is the company making the stickers that make your guitar look relic. And yes, I have a pack here in my hands. And yes, I'm going to apply them to a guitar in the near future. But they also do these wraps, which honestly, like this Fruity Pebbles one, I'm into it. Like, I think that's sharp looking. Like they did a really good job of it.
They're called Insane Skins. Insane is spelled with a Z. And it says one of their new things. They have this relic series. It's get the relic look without the damage, but they have all kinds of designs,
Like
like you're
this,
saying.
like this was so clean that I was like trying to figure out what I was looking at and how he did it. It's like, is this like a dip? And then you like finished it. And he's like, no, this is all like a vinyl applique. But what they do is they line it up perfectly. So when it stretches around the edges, they actually like can varnish over it. And it's so clean and so perfect that it honestly looked like it might have been like airbrushed or something like that. Like parts of it were super duper clean. Like it was a really like convincing look without any seams or anything like that. And this was cute because like it just seems like, oh, fruity pebbles, whatever. It's actually like a custom thing. I was talking to the guy. It's a custom commission for a client, and the art is just full of like little references for a man and his wife who are married, and it's like an anniversary sort of thing. And there's a bunch of references on the back that I don't think I got photos of, but yeah, I think it's a really cool bit of technology that they have going on there. Obviously, it's not for everyone, but it's really really clean. I was impressed.
Yeah, no, they're really cool. The whole thing's really cool. I think the idea we talked to him about this relic thing, and he just thought it was the what you want to do with it is just the best idea ever. He was
Right.
pretty into it
Yeah,
because
I
you were like,
pitched
oh,
my
you were just like, oh, let's trade cards. We got to talk about this, and like if you like my idea, maybe we can set something up. And he was like, dude, just take it. He's like, that your
yeah.
idea is great. Here you
No,
go.
he's like, what is this for? And I told him, and he's like, what is the color of it? And I kind of explained it, and he's like, oh, okay, let me find the right color for you. And he found like
Yeah,
wood that he thought would match it the best. So he was pretty excited about it. I wasn't trying to do like the YouTuber begging at a booth sort of thing. And I'm
right.
sure that's obnoxious to a lot of people, but I'm pretty excited about the project I have in mind. I think it's going to make
Yeah.
some waves on the internet, and it's going to piss off a few purists and
They're
things like that.
they're very. I would say that picture that relicing. It's a 6 foot relic. It's
Oh,
yeah.
totally,
If you
totally.
get up on it and whatever, you're oh what the hell. But like
No, I could tell right away, like, oh, that's a sticker.
yeah
But like when you kind of look at it from a distance, like you're not even going to think about it, you know. And it's not that that even matters. Like it's fine for it to look like a sticker and be like,
yeah.
here's here's a silly thing I'm doing, you know.
Hmm.
And might as if you're curious, like what like a relic guitar would look like on your body, like stickers are a lot cheaper than actually going out and doing it, you know, and you don't risk anything with your guitar. You want to do a gimmick or something like that. I think he should do like fantasy relic style things. Like what if that the way that's worn away underneath it, instead it's like muscle tissue or something like that, or you know, something for the biomechanical tattoo types
Right.
out there, or
I
like
mean, maybe that's a thing. Maybe if you go through his gallery, maybe there's something in there like
maybe,
that.
or like it's worn away and there's like honeycomb under there with like honey dripping out or something. Yeah,
Right.
there's something there. There's some fun concepts you could do because he's got the means to make these things. He just needs a bunch of concepts that are kind of silly and fun.
Yeah, there's a lot of different concepts
Yeah, even if it's
on that
just
site.
like, oh, it makes it look like you have the pastel guitar or plain color guitar, and it looks like, oh, it wears away and there's paisley underneath. Like that's
Hmm.
a fun look. Things like that, there's something there. You want to try something out? So this was a photo with another YouTube channel, and I'm not talking about Glenn. What was his name? I sent him this photo the other day.
His name is Parker. It's
He's
Guitar Tabs Daily.
there. It is Guitar Tabs Daily. Did you pull up his message, or did you just know
No, I
it?
just remembered that because
Because you remember things.
that's what I do here.
No, it really is. That is Steve's job behind the scenes,
That's
is
gonna be
to
my
remember things.
it should be my Gear Fest
Nickname, the
nickname.
Rememberer.
I remember Steve Rao. I remember things.
It was a lot of fun to hang out with Glenn a little bit. I didn't get to spend real quality time with him, but I'm always happy to see Glenn. So it's fun to run into him too.
Yeah.
Dovey Doss was there. I had some actually good quality time with Dovey Doss. We hung out for a
Hmm.
while talking. We were, talking to fans and stuff like that together, and just kind of walking around checking stuff out. Dovey's a fun guy, and he's going to be at GearFest, and I'm really excited to spend some time with him, like some quality time with that dude. He's such a nut. Like, and I mean that in like the most positive way. Like, he's just a character. Yeah. He's just delightful. So I'm looking forward to seeing him next week or this week. This thing's gonna be published on Monday. We're recording it on a Tuesday, so almost a full week ahead. Surfy trim. Surfy Industries was there. They have some new products. This is one of them. I already had their normal Surfy trim. This is the stereo version. They have a stereo version now. And I think the one that I have is a 2 knob. So this is 3 knobs now. It has a volume. I'm going to have to ask them for this. It's got the switch between brown and black panel Fender sounds. And they also have a rack unit now.
Yeah, that was, I think that was this was one of, I think, 2 very new items for them.
Yeah. This is still the prototype. Is right the vibe I was getting, but they're doing all the stereo stuff now, and I've took pictures of 2 out of 3 of the stereo things. That this has stereo width on it, and he was explaining all the science to me, and I didn't quite pick it up, so I can't explain it now. But it takes a mono signal, can split it into stereo, and give you this width that sounds really, really pretty, and it does the full like surfy, drippy Fender outboard reverb unit thing with all sorts of other options. Like, Surfy is really finding their legs, like getting outside of the box. Like, they started out just doing like 3 knob emulations of the Fender unit, and they just keep advancing it and coming up with new stuff like this. I was looking at this as like, do I need to get into rack gear? Because this is pretty cool. Oh man, but I really don't use rack gear, and I'm not tempted at all.
Yeah. Before we hit this tongue twister, let's do some housekeeping, man.
Sure.
You want to hit that housekeeping music?
Yeah. Let's see if I can remember which one it is. Housekeeping time. There you go.
All right. So housekeeping is part of the show where we thank the people who help make this show happen, even when Ryan has COVID and we're on other sides of the world. Not really. Just I'm literally like 6 miles down the street. I went into work. Even my wife was like, "Is it going to be
a world away?"
She's like, "Is it going to be weird that you're going to work on your day off?" And I'm like, "It's 6 o'clock. Everyone's gone."
Right.
But we're going to thank these people at the $1 level: Stephen Hickox, Matthew Edwards, Samuel Hunt, and Rob Brewer. And at the $5 level, Carlos P. and BJ Pierce. So thanks to all these people and everyone who's supporting. And, as we've said dozens, if not hundreds of times now, the money that you guys send through Patreon goes back into the show.
Yeah.
It goes back into Ryan and I to keep doing this thing and keep it going and everything. And
that actually happened today. I spent just over $400 on a piece of gear that we needed for our Sweetwater trip. I've been hauling all my travel gear in a backpack for years, and the straps are falling off of it. And heading to Sweetwater this week, we're actually going to be packing quite a bit extra gear that I normally wouldn't be bringing. So I needed a bigger container, so I bought a Pelican case. I could have gone with something off brand, but I was like, I'm going to be doing this for years and years, hopefully. So might as well get the real deal thing that I can, get accessories for and whatnot. And, know that it's going to work and have, kind of brand stuff behind it and whatnot. And also I work with people that use them, and it would be fun to be matchy and whatnot. But
and Pelican stuff's really good.
It was, and I already know, like, I'm going to be able to fit everything that I need in there, and then have some extra room and whatnot, and be a little bit better organized than I have in the past. But yeah, it like the Patreon funding makes it easy for us to be like, well, we got money in the budget, and even if we go into the red, the money will replenish eventually, so that we can buy things that we need to produce the show and to produce content and to take care of travel needs and things like that. So yeah, it really helps us.
and to buy drinks for everyone at the NAMM YouTuber party.
Well, that's a business expense as well, Steve.
No, I know.
No, we were hanging out at the YouTuber party, and Steve was like, "I started a tab. Can I buy drinks for people?" And I was like, "I wish you would." And I paid off Steve's bill today, and I was like, "He really did it."
Just like yeah, it was already running, and so I was just, like anyone who was doing stuff. Like if I was just up there and someone was ordering a drink, I'd just tell the bartender like, "Oh, just put it on my tab. It's fine." And that way, I just left it open for the whole night, and it was whatever.
So I know that on your tab, I ordered a drink for Perfecto and a drink for Aaron Abubo from the Gear Slum. Who else did you buy drinks for? And you bought them for me as well.
For you, for me, I think I picked up. I think Aaron had one or two more on that. I think Andrew or Emily probably got one. I really don't know. I really don't know. Like I said, I was just there, and like
sure.
If someone was walking up and they didn't have a tab open already, I was just while I was ordering a drink, I was like, "I'll pick this one up. Like, don't worry about it."
And we might do that. We might do that some more this week in Fort Wayne. You know, so
even though literally everyone else at GearFest has a bigger Patreon than us, I don't know why we're paying, but we are.
Well, I think here's the fantasy, guys. Like we go to GearFest and we use some Patreon money to buy Rhett Scholl a drink. Now people who are Patreons are like, I helped put some liquor in Rhett Scholl's belly, and I feel good about that.
Well, that's one way to look at it. Or it's you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. So we buy Rhett Scholl a drink, and then he puts us on his channel. That's the way this is designed to work. Does it actually work that way?
Probably not.
No, I don't. I can't say.
I enjoy Rhett. I enjoy talking to Rhett and having conversations.
Oh
with him and stuff like that.
I feel really bad about. Because I
feel like the purposes of our content does not overlap.
No, it doesn't, and it sucks because I felt really bad about all of the, like, I think at a production level, in terms of the content that he makes and my personal gear opinions, we don't necessarily agree on everything, and of course, when he says something and that everybody's sharing all over Facebook, and I don't agree with it, it comes up here. And then, we hung out I ran into Rhett over by Doug Cower's booth, and we talked for a while. And then for like the next 3 days, I was like, man, he's a really nice guy.
Oh, he's super nice. He's a great guy. And that's part of the danger of meeting these people, is that everyone's super nice. Like I keep trying to spread the rumor, because it's not a rumor. Keep trying to ruin Glenn Fricker's reputation by telling everyone that he's a sweetheart. And then everyone that meets him is like, yeah, he is a sweetheart. He's a super nice guy. Yeah. Like none of these people are mean or like, oh, don't talk to me. Like they're all really nice people. So let's not talk about that too much, because we're going to
one more thing real quick. Let's do a sponsor spot for.
Well, I want to open a couple.
Oh, you want to open mail? Let's open some letters. Yeah.
We got a bunch of packages in. I'm just going to open like 2 of the letters and save the rest for when Steve is back here, and we can kind of experience what's in those packages together. But I figured I might as well open up 2 of these. They feel like they might have stickers in them, and slap some stickers on the Cyclone while we're here. So this is from Stephen and Liberty Thomas from Windsor. Oh, I might need to edit that. From Mobile, Alabama. Ryan, do not forget to. Well, I didn't say their full address. I just started to say their street name. All right, we got.
Oh, is that what you were reading?
Yeah. It says, "Way to go, superstar. Hi there, Ryan and Steve. I've been a fan of the show for a while and haven't even gotten my daughter into watching it with me occasionally. She was taking a digital art class last semester. One of the first things they did was make stickers. We were hoping you all could find a spot for one of hers on the sticker strat. Love the show. Keep being awesome. P.S. I work for Cracked." What?
Whoa.
And we saw a nice little uptick on traffic on May 9th when you mentioned our old mags. Totally crediting that to you.
I think
he Cracked. Okay, I don't mean this to sound like a diss, because I don't want it to be. Cracked is still operating, and we helped move their numbers a little bit. That's
Apparently.
wild. All right, let's find a place for this. I say they should bring back the magazine with the cartoons.
Right.
Am I going to be able to get this with my nail? I just trimmed my nails, and so stickering is a little bit tough. There we go. We'll find a spot on the back for this. Maybe right there. Trying to cover as much paint as possible when I apply these things. We're getting there. I feel like we might be a month or two away, but we're getting there. All right, then we got one more, which is like a cardboard thing from Stratford, Connecticut. Fasanella. It's got two stamps on it.
Well, because it's thick.
Yeah, it's thick. Cardboard and packing tape. I admire this. This is the way to do it. I'm going to be able to get it open without damaging things. Oh, it's full of like pens and stuff.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, and the note is stuck inside of it. So let's see if I can read it. Ryan and Steve, thanks for all you do and for playing my ska and unska songs. Here are some promo items from my surf band, Renegade Lounge, sticker for the guitar, but also keychains, picks, etc. Stay grounded. Signed, Chris. Thanks, Chris. So what do we have here? Renegade Lounge. And a sticker. 2 stickers. Renegade Lounge. It looks like skulls. That's cool.
Oh, cool.
A pen. And some picks and stuff. That's awesome. Thanks, Chris. And some keychains in there.
Oh, cool. We can I can throw those into the old thing.
We've been redistributing like all kinds of stuff that we get. We got a bag of stuff at NAMM that we're going to redistribute to Patreons as they sign up.
That'll be a lot easier. So we're moving the weekend before this hits, and then Gear Fest. I'm going to be in a new house for two nights. No, 3 nights.
You're gonna leave,
and then I'm gonna leave to Fort Wayne. And then after we get back, I need to buy a printer and set up the office, and then I'm gonna start shipping stuff out. So need to get that swag.
All right. I covered up a little bit of paint that was left right there. So parts of this are like completely covered now, and it's just going to be like covering up little spots here and there.
We need to finish it up.
Wrap it up, right?
Yep.
All right, so should we get back to the pictures?
I think we should do a sponsor spot. Maybe should we do both our sponsor spots? Maybe we should do both our sponsor spots.
Sure. Which one do you want to do first?
Let's do this first one is for Chase Bliss Audio. They make pedals more creative than you are. Ryan has the Habit.
I'm holding the Habit right now in my hands.
He is not breaking the Habit tonight.
It's a really fun pedal that takes your signal and chops it up and makes it all funky and crazy and wild. Go watch the video that we did with the Habit at Guitar House. We ran 6 Habits at the same time. It was incredible. It made a beautiful musical noise that will probably never ever happen again. So it's a once in a lifetime opportunity to go watch that video.
Someone's probably already over at Chase Bliss HQ in Minnesota. They've probably already put together 7 Habits, and they're just like, oh, take that, Ryan. But they just got it in their pocket. They haven't published it yet.
Right. Until they film it, it's not real. But the Habit is a ton of fun. I honestly think it might be my favorite of the 3 knobs pedals that came out of Chase Bliss. The Blooper, the Habit, and the Mood. The Mood was the one I was looking for. I think the Habit is my favorite.
Have you seen the new Mood? The limited edition brewery Mood?
No.
Yeah, they're partnering with a brewery to do a Mood beer. And I should have sent Joel a message and been like, dude, is there any way you can send us a 4-pack of that? Because that would be cool.
Send us the beer.
But so go check that stuff out, chaseplusaudio.com. Also sponsoring this show is big ear pedals.
That's right, Steve. And I happen
Ryan
to be
has got
holding
the
the
pizza,
pizza,
the slice of pie,
the slice of pie. And I just noticed because I actually use this and I keep it on my board, I'm starting to relic a little bit. I've got a
Oh,
little bit of a chip in the paint right there.
be more careful,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, I not sure. I probably hit it with a cable or something like that. Oh, a couple little chips down there too. I'm excited to see this pizza relic.
What if there's a secret layer, like it's actually like two coats, like a full coat of just red paint underneath.
Well, you chip away
That's
the cheese and there's just sauce, you
that's
know.
what I'm saying. As you chip away the top, the cheese and the pepperoni, the actual color of the case is red. And so you're just exposing sauce, like little sauce pockets all over the place.
That'd be
I'm not
fun.
saying that it is. I'm just saying that would be cool. So head
Yeah.
on over to bigearpedals.com. Check out everything they have.
Mm-hmm.
And if you buy something, tell them that 60 Cycle Hum sent you.
Yeah, or tell them that we didn't, but mention us by name. Say 60 Cycle Hum did not send me. And he'll be like, interesting. You know who they
Yeah.
are, but they didn't send you. Okay. Let's get back to these NAMM photos. So this is
Yeah.
I'm gonna let the I keep trying to find a fun way to
Okay, this
saying
is a
this.
this is a guitar.
It's named after a
Dude,
sword,
just
an S
stop it.
word.
Yeah, this is a rapier. This is one of the. I don't know who the parent company is, but this is the same company that makes Fret King. They
And
make
vintage
vintage. I
and
should say like
silver tone.
maybe family of brands
Yeah, I
is
don't know. Yeah,
the word I'm looking for.
I don't know if they're making stuff for each other, but it's like the same distributor or something like that.
Yeah. So
So
these are actually Spanish made guitars. It looks like. Wait,
are
am I
they?
on the wrong website?
You might be, man. Because the originals were Spanish or Italian or something like that, and they were imports into the UK. I actually follow the guy who designed these. I think his name is Alan Entwistle. I follow him on
Yeah.
Facebook, so I got to see kind of the process of these being designed, and I've been excited about them ever since. And they're fun. I got to play around with one of them. They were one of the few things I was going to film at NAMM, and then I set up my whole rig, and one of my batteries was dead, and I just gave up. But I had a lot of fun playing with them. They don't feel like they're an incredibly high price point instrument or something like that. They feel very accessible price wise. I have a feeling they match their price point in playability and whatnot. I'd guess they're probably like $700, $800 guitars. I could be way off on that.
They are 429 pounds according to
Wow.
guitar.com.
So US they must be like 450 or something like that, right?
Yeah, and they're actually sold through jhs.co.uk.
Right.
Fret
I don't
King
think there's a source in the US yet.
Yeah, Fret King is also, I think, sold through that store, but
I was really interested in the vibratos on them. They have a really fun, loose, wobbly, wiggly
right.
feel to them. But then I picked up a few different versions of the guitar. Well, here's a different model that has the same vibrato. And depending on how the guitar was set up, the bars would either be floating up really high where I like them, or they'd be really close to the body. So I really want to know what the mechanics of that vibrato are, if it's adjustable or if it's just like whatever your string gauge, you just have to kind of deal with it sort of situation. But they're fun guitars, and at that price point, sub $500, man, I should have gone back and made filming happen because they look really cool for just under $500. And they have a version of this one that's got 3 pickups in it. It was really cool too, and there's all sorts of different like circuit options on them with slider switches and stuff. And they have a 12 string that's out of shot here. I think they're cool. This was at the ESP booth. It's just like, oh, I'll take a picture of that.
Oh, I don't even think I realized. Oh, because I didn't go to ESP. I saw their booth.
Yeah. It was a substantial booth. They had a lot of stuff going on in there. A lot of people waiting to get into the ESP booth because it was one of the few like capital M metal guitar booths going on at NAMM this time around. And I get it. I think ESP has always made really great guitars. I just don't have any personal fandom for them.
weren't they limiting how many people could go in at a time too?
Oh yeah.
So,
but I actually think this is pretty decent, even though it technically breaks my art rules and it's going sideways.
how dare they?
I think it's a really decent, carving. And I think the color really works with it. Like it had this metallic pewter thing going on. And it's obviously not my style, but I thought the execution was really great on this.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, this guy.
So this guy sells a guitar hanger that you can turn any direction you want. And his gimmick is one of his displays is with the guitar hanging completely upside down. And it's one of those things where it's like, you can't just grab the guitar and like, oh, I'm just going to casually grab this. But if you're doing a display, like, I actually thought it was a really cool product. I spent a while looking at it. It's really well designed. Called?
It's like something cage.
Iron Cage. He's got a logo down here. Let's see if I can. It's not gonna. There we go. Iron Cage. He's got a skull logo.
There you go. Iron Cage.
Articulating guitar stand. It was smart. It was a smart piece of design, really well built. I was impressed by it. I spent a little bit of time looking at that.
Their whole booth was a bunch of guitars being held at a bunch of different angles. So
right. Like, what else do you need?
Yeah.
And then here's that picture of Perfecto holding that Shabbat guitar. I think he ended up borrowing it or something because he did a video with that guitar like a couple days after NAMM. Yeah. He's been having his eye on offsets lately. He was chatting up me and Mike about some local Jaguars that were in his area on OfferUp and Craigslist and whatnot. I wonder if he got that one. So this is at the Fret King booth. I just thought it was just fun how many pickups it has.
Yeah, so I
kind of want to hear what that neck double Telecaster situation is.
Yeah, Fret King is part of that. They're sold through JHS, the UK JHS. Fret King is a Trev Wilkinson company.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Whereas that Rapier was, I think Alan Entwistle was involved in those. He's another one of those British guys.
Yeah. There's Rob Chapman. He spotted that.
There's me.
There's Steve. Got a picture of Steve. Oh, you got all the Rev tags around your neck.
Yeah.
So Rev was doing a thing where they gave away all these hats, and then they gave all of these backstage passes to various people that were at NAMM, YouTubers and whatnot. Like, if you see someone wearing the hat, give them one of these backstage passes and tell them to come back to the Rev booth, and we'll give them something. So I don't know what all the prizes were, and I don't know what everything that everyone got, whether it was just a beer koozie or, like a sticker or whatever, but I know a significant amount of people won pedals, and then one person won a generator head. Like, one of the people I gave a badge to came and found me and like, I won a G3. I'm like, that's awesome, dude. So they were giving away some pedals for sure. But it was fun to run into Rob. We've had very few conversations with Rob over the years. Like, he was at one of the TGUs I went to, and I think I shared like 4 words with him in passing. Like, he said something, I said something, and then we went along our way, sort of thing. But excuse me. But he's been like commenting on our Instagram lately, and so I've been commenting on his Instagram. I don't know. Is this something? Are we falling in love? Is this a budding romance? I don't know. I if you're watching, Rob, I don't mean this as a slight, but I've never been like hip to any of your content, Rob. It's not my thing, And since getting busy making my own videos, I don't watch anyone else's videos anymore because I'm busy editing. Why am I making all these excuses to Rob Chapman? He doesn't need me to watch. I don't know, man.
All you have to say is he plays like my perception is that he plays more like hard rock and whatever, and I just don't really go there. So
it's a different scene, and his guitars are cool. I tried his guitars at Toman, but they're not really my thing. I don't know. People like him. Some people don't like him. Like, it was fun to meet him. I don't know. I'm sure I'll meet him a bunch more times. I just made that way more awkward with this rambling.
I think I talked about this on a recent episode, but this is my sticker bottle.
Yeah, let's solo you.
Look at that. Look at all these.
Look at that sticker bottle.
Got to get offset sticker, big ear sticker, my honey pig sticker. It matches my honey pig's hat. I got a couple. Really this is some North Carolina beer. that I got for free from work. There's some
I'm
other
not into stickers on my
whatever.
drinking utensils.
I don't know. I just have it because I left my other one at the golf course.
Mm.
So I only have one bottle now. It's very depressing. Oh,
Oh,
this
this was
thing.
fun. Oh
Yeah.
man. Like I didn't stop and look at a lot of pedals, but the guy that was there from Cusack pulled me in for this one. He's like, you gotta check this thing out.
Yeah.
And I'm glad he did. This is a high dollar value fuzz. Like it was like 340, 360 somewhere in there. And you know, when you're used to seeing stuff like that, you're used to it having some sort of really like wild novelty thing happening as far as like, you know, like maybe the plasma pedal or even like that Beatronics pedal I just demoed, things like
Right.
that. They have a lot of stuff going on. This in theory is a very simple fuzz. It's a 4-knob fuzz, but it uses a selenium component that apparently the component that they're using in it costs like $50 each, and it's super duper rare. So there's, I think he said 20 of these got made, and then that's going to be
that
it.
sounds about right. I think it was 20.
You know, I've tried fuzzes with all kinds of different components over the years, and it's like, yeah, okay, I get it. Silicon, germanium, whatever. It sounds a little bit different. This thing sounded very different.
Yeah, this
like
is has a selenium rectifier, according to the Delicious Audio site.
Like I'm trying to think of how to describe it. Like there's different fuzzes that have slightly different gain character or slightly different EQ character based on the components that it's using. Like this almost didn't seem like a fuzz in a way. Like it had a fuzz quality to it.
Yeah.
It was like, it was really wild the way the low end and the low mids on it were almost like fully clean, but like fat and saturated. And then all the fuzz was on the highs and a bit on the high mids, and would have this really like wild old school kind of like AM radio sort of like quality to it, while also being like this torn speaker Velcro sort of thing. Like it sounded like what you would assume a fuzz invented like in the 1940s would sound like.
That's actually a really apt commentary, because I'm looking at I just did a search for like selenium rectifier and guitar pedals, and one of the places apparently they were used are in the old Tweed Harvards, old Fender Harvards, which is like a 1950s Tweed amp.
Yeah. And then that finish on it, like I should have taken video of it, but it moves in the light. It's this crystallized, like champagne peachy color. Like it is a beautiful finish. And I think you were talking to him about the finish, and he was saying that it like some sort of special process to make that happen.
Yeah, it's like a 1920s finishing process that he says takes like days and smells horrible.
I want a guitar with that finish on it. Like it looks like ice. It's crystallized like snowflakes in ice.
I couldn't get over it. It was amazing.
And even the knobs are like custom milled knobs just for this project. It's like Cusack really went over the top with this. And you know, when before he told me how much it cost, I was like, yeah, I was thinking I'd like to demo one of these things. Yeah, send me one of these things. And then he was like, well, here's the cost, and it's because we only made 20 of them. I'm like, okay, obviously this is not for demos. Like if I want one, I'm gonna have to buy one. And it sounds like they're already having to wrestle with who they're going to sell them to, because like various retailers are like, well, just sell me the whole run and I want to sell them all. And it's like, well, you're just going to like mark up the price or something like that. We want to make sure it goes to people who actually, you know, want them for the price that they are.
Instead of a minimum advertised price agreement, they need a maximum advertised price agreement.
Exactly. So what else do I have here? Oh, there's us with Paul Davids.
Yep.
That was just before he told us about the party.
Yeah, that was what was the question? He asked, what's the worst piece of advice or best piece of advice?
Worst piece of advice someone gave you when you were learning guitar. What did you tell him? Did you tell him anything?
He didn't ask me. He asked you.
I'm sorry, Steve. Paul Davis didn't ask you. I told him strumming patterns. Like people, when I first started playing, were all about strumming patterns. Like, oh, here's how you have to strum. Here's the strumming pattern. You go up, down, up, up, down. Like we're doing the Kamani code or whatever it's called, you know?
Yeah.
And it took me years.
Up, down, BA.
It took me years to realize like, oh, there's not set strum patterns. Like for some songs there are for sure, but like you do what works within the song, and you learn what works with
Yeah.
what you're doing when you're doing it. I think that came out of like kind of learning guitar around people who were playing church music, like, and
Yeah,
very early, like acoustic kind of campfire style songs. And it's like, well, we don't know how to do this at all, so here's the very basics, and like this song, here's a strum pattern that works for it, you know.
it's really interesting, because that was something of I think that was a thing when I first started playing that I picked up on really quickly, was to listen to what was actually happening in like a recording full in
Right.
terms of strum patterns. And so I knew a lot of people who, and it's funny when you're just learning, the
Right.
difference between what you were describing is the down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up,
Right.
or whatever. I know a lot of people, they spend the first 6 months or year of their playing just going down, up, down, up, down, up, and that's
Sure.
all they do. And they're changing the chord, and that's great. Like, do
Totally
what helps
honestly,
you learn your transitions. But
totally honestly, like do down up, whatever. Don't think about the downs and the up. Think about the beat.
yeah,
Don't think
yeah,
about like what direction you're going. Thinking about hitting that beat and finding the groove. That's what's important, not the pattern of the strum. Come
yeah.
on.
And I think it's a thing where you just have to like detach a little and listen and
Right.
understand the rhythm. And this is actually where, like, that's the difference between somebody. This is the possibly the worst reference I can think of, but it's also kind of the best reference I can think of. Is that's the difference between someone who's like playing Wonderwall and you go, "Oh, cool, Wonderwall," and somebody who's playing Wonderwall and you're like, "Yeah, man, like that's Wonderwall."
Right. I mean, yeah. Like if you can nail the strum pattern from a song the way the original artist did it, then that's fantastic. But I guarantee you, it's not by memorizing up, down, 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 up,
No,
down.
it's
It's like
100% feel.
it's 100% feel, but it's also like you're not hitting every single string every single time, or
Yeah.
you're digging emphasis on certain strings, or you're doing a little fluttery, jumpy thing across the middle strings or whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
I,
or
I
you're
shouldn't I shouldn't say it's like
there's
a
so much more
100%
to
feel.
it. Yeah,
It's understanding where the song wants to go.
totally.
And I
And
don't think that's
yeah,
necessarily a feel thing. That is something that you can
it's a
work on.
feel thing. It's an instinct thing. It's a listening thing. It's an experience thing. Like that's a
Yeah.
thing that you can't replicate with just ups and downs. Like that's silly, you know?
Yeah, you
Oh,
need
this
some
is
left
funny.
and right.
This is a photo that's printed really big in the Taylor booth, and that just
Mhm.
happens to be the other guitarist in Dinosaur Ghost. So it
Yeah,
was
this is
funny to see
the Dinosaur
Ariel.
Ghost reunion.
Yeah. I just had to take a selfie with my old bandmate there. Oh, this was interesting. This was the Cortex booth,
Oh, yeah.
and
Yeah.
look what they have up on the sign there, and they had it at their display, Digitech stuff. So they're full on like, this is ours now. We own Digitech. We have a section of our booth dedicated to this. And they had some product out, multiple whammies, the Carcosa, the Rubberneck,
Yeah.
a few other things down there. So hopefully they don't just maintain those existing products, but maybe bring back some old products,
I think
maybe come up with some new ones.
the fact that they had this, and I think down there, I don't know if you can zoom in on that board, but down there is the Looking Glass is on there, the Freak Out,
Yep.
the Mosaic, and all three of those I think were well, really everything on here I think may have been discontinued at one time or another.
Well, it was weird
Uh,
because everything kept going in and out of stock. So
yeah,
it's like, are they just pulling pallets that they didn't know they had and shipping them to retailers?
yeah, who
Or are
knows?
they making new runs? Like no one knows really what has been going on at
Yeah.
Samsung for the
But
past 4
I
years.
kind of thought the fact that some of those pedals in particular are on there was really promising. I kind of wanted to talk somewhat to someone about, what they thought
Yeah, that would
their
have been
plans
nice.
were, but without a guitar hooked up there, I couldn't play the intro to um, Stairway to Heaven. So if you can't play the intro to Stairway to Heaven, no one will help you.
Right. So here's you playing one of those Donner composite guitars with Aaron
Oh,
looking in your guitar hole.
trying to figure out he's trying to figure out what's going on in my hole.
So Donner is trying to do like some higher end, like more creative looking stuff. They had a bunch of like strats and violins and
Yeah.
ukuleles and stuff, and like they didn't have any of their really cheap looking guitars out. They have a
Hmm.
bunch of stuff that looks quite a bit better. So Donner's making moves to be a different kind of company here.
Yeah, I think Kloss, is that the name of the company? Uh, is real big on carbon fiber guitars, and I think all of those guitars are manufactured overseas. Maybe I don't know why I
Hmm.
think they're manufactured overseas because they are headquartered in Provo, Utah. But in my, I just
Sure.
given their price point and everything, I think they are manufactured overseas, and I think that there is a lot of people who have taken. Maybe it's not Kloss I'm thinking of. Maybe it's a different brand um, that has a very similar design to the Donner with the
Yeah,
sound, that
totally.
offset sound
Oh
hole and
no,
everything.
yeah, Donner's not breaking new ground with this design.
No,
Not at
so
all.
but I think now that there's some consistent carbon fiber acoustic guitar manufacturing going on in China, you're going to see Donner and a lot of these other companies do it. So then it just comes back to,
Sure.
who's going to pay the extra X dollars per guitar to have them QC'd well.
I wonder how well those Kloss guitars sell. Is this going to be a situation where like how like back in the 60s and the 70s there would be all sorts of like copies of kind of failed models of mainstream
Hmm.
brands. Like you'd have like import copies of the Fender Maverick and stuff, and it's like somewhere in translation they lost the point that that guitar didn't do well, but they tried to make a copy of it, sort of thing. Like,
Hmm.
is Kloss a company that's doing well and there's reason to try to copy them with a more budget brand? Or, maybe they're not doing well and this is going to be a flop for Donner. I don't
Yeah.
know. Or maybe it'll do great for Donner because people have been curious about that concept, but didn't want to spend a bunch of money on it. So they'll go for a cheaper version. I don't know.
The guitar brand I was thinking of is Lava. It's not Kloss.
Ah, okay. We
Lava
just
is
kept
the one.
saying Kloss because you said it
Well,
first.
Kloss is another brand that
Right,
makes
right.
and I remember seeing Kloss at the booth, but I think Lava is the one I was uh, thinking of, though they have a completely different sound hole.
Yeah. So this is
Um,
an interesting gizmo here that I took a
yeah,
picture of. It's
yeah.
a tool for setting up guitars with floating trims, and it's just
Hmm.
this like fun little double clamp thing here. And it's like, oh, it seems kind of simple, but it's really smart. And anyone who's ever spent time setting up a Floyd Rose sees this right now. Is like, you know what? Yeah. No, that's brilliant. It's got a little clamp to hold onto the guitar and then an extra clamp arm to hold the wiggle stick in position so that you can swap out the strings and keep everything in the right position and then make your adjustments and then release it. Like I thought it was a fun idea.
Do you remember what this product is called?
I don't. I see. I wasn't thinking in the headspace of like, oh, I'm going to talk about this later when I was taking all these photos.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, this thing. So this is a insole that you put in your shoe, and it is a radio frequency expression pedal controller.
Yeah,
It was
I
like
don't know, man.
they put a lot of effort into this, and they got a really decent sized booth, and they were doing quite the display with it. And yeah, they were doing it. You can
Yeah,
control
yeah.
expression functions on your pedals and your technology and stuff with it. But there's something about it that's just like, really, you're gonna slide this into your shoe before a show and then dedicate your walking time to like, and it was like, this is not going to be comfortable underneath your foot. Like it's not a Dr.
Right.
Scholl's product at all. It is a kind of a thick piece of plastic.
It's a really interesting proof of concept.
It
Um,
is like, but expression pedals work,
yeah, yeah.
and they're, when you incorporate them into your rig, they're always there. Like feels like you're going to forget it one time and just be like, well, I
Well,
guess I'm not doing expression
and
stuff.
back in 2016, Converse did that all walk
Yeah.
Chuck Taylor, which I think is a bit different. So I don't know if this is a similar idea or what, but yeah, I just it was it Soul Pedal. Is that
Like
who this is?
that sounds like a name that it would be.
I think
My,
it's Soul Pedal. So it's an expression controller. So it's sending like a radio signal or some kind of signal
yeah.
into your into a receiver box
Yeah.
in your pedal chain.
They've done things like this with all sorts of like little different expression rings and things like that, and like things with accelerometers in them, and like little things that you can stick on your guitar, or,
Yeah.
and whatnot. And I get it, but I don't know anyone who's made something like this part of their permanent rig. Like, I think it's a fun concept, but
Soul Pedals, the company. Like I said, I personally like. I kind of get it. The fact that you have to hook it up to a receiver, I think, is kind of a bummer. It does kind of look like you can sign up to be pre-order, but it doesn't. I don't see any pricing on their website for it. And I kind of just feel like if this was, and this is a product we need to come back to talk about, I think at some point. I guess I guess the whole point of it being in the insole is it's a foot pressure and motion sensor,
sure.
which gives you that added thing. Because I was going to say, if it's only a motion sensor, then I would prefer to have this in like a Soundbrenner format where you just strap it onto your shoe.
Right, exactly.
But then I guess like maybe that's not cool, because if you got your badass Doc Martens in your Guns N' Roses cover band, then maybe that's not a thing that you
Also, like,
want.
did you watch them?
Cramping your style
Did you watch them use it?
a little bit.
Like, you don't use it the way that you would normally use an expression pedal, where you're rocking on your heel. You
Right.
use it rocking forward onto your toe. So you're doing almost
Mhm.
like a high heel pose with it to get to
Yeah.
the toe position on it. And I don't know. I guess it looked fine, but I wonder, like, is that the look people are going to want to go for when they're on stage?
Well, so I guess you can use it to do MIDI. I'm reading their website. You can use it to do MIDI control. So
So,
you
like,
can literally put in a bunch of different, I guess, motion gestures into it. So you can use it as a tap tempo.
sure,
You can do a bunch of different things depending on how your MIDI controller is set up.
you could mess up your posture with it.
Yeah, yeah.
You
Well,
can
that
put
was the
one,
thing I was looking
put
at.
one
I
in
was
each.
like bending it and
Yeah,
whatever, and I'm like, this doesn't. Uh, I can
I don't.
barely. I have
Yeah,
trouble enough with shoes.
I don't want one
So
of
I
those
don't
in
know.
my shoe. So I hate to be a bummer on a product, but like, I wasn't. I had my doubts.
No, this
That's
is
all.
like I said, I think it's a really cool idea. I think the execution is uh maybe it can be executed better, but we'll see.
I Like an hour ago, I messaged Doug Cower about this
Yeah.
guitar. We'll scroll back real quick. This was us doing a podcast with Emily and Andrew,
Oh
and
yeah.
Aaron was there
Yeah.
too. I think Emily said she had to scrap the whole damn thing because it's nonsense. But
Oh good. I went on like a 10-minute rant about getting emails from the National Republican Senatorial
oh my gosh.
Committee all the time.
So this is a guitar builder that was across the aisle from Doug Cower's
Yeah,
display.
Diego Vila.
Diego was his name. I messaged Doug, like, what was that guy's name? I feel terrible because I should have taken a picture of the guy.
Yeah.
Because I talked to him for like 45 minutes about hamburgers.
You guys would not shut up
And I
about
barely
hamburgers.
even looked at his guitars, but they were stunning. And this is one I took a picture of. But it was really fun because I was walking up to Doug and the guy spotted me and he was like, 60 cycle yum. And I was like,
Yeah,
oh
yeah.
man, we're gonna talk. Like, this guy is all about the food stuff. We didn't even talk about guitars at all, but we talked about hamburgers for like 45 minutes. But his guitars looked rad. So he's a boutique builder out of Spain, I think he said.
Yeah. He's out of
And
Spain.
super nice guy. I mean, anyone who loves hamburgers and will talk to me about them is a nice guy, right?
Yeah,
But yeah,
they're really
stunning.
cool. He makes some bases too. They're all kind of the same conceptual shape,
Yeah.
that shape right there. And yeah, his finishes are fantastic.
Oh,
Both this
beautiful.
kind of like ultra clean finish, but also
He had some
you
relics
can
too.
see there off to the edge of the shot that he's got he had two relics there, I think, and they're
Yeah.
really well done. Very tasteful relicing.
If the format of this episode goes well, then I'll have to remember next time we go to NAMM to better document everything with photos. Oh, this is from my personal camera roll. That's not supposed to be on there. Thankfully, it wasn't something naked. So I guess that was my last photo in all the NAMM stuff. Yeah, that's the last one. So, I mean, we've been at this an hour and 15 minutes now, Steve. Um, do you have anything you want to say about NAMM? Like your thoughts on
Uh,
how it went, like the
so
future of NAMM? I don't know.
so a lot of it's funny. So I guess and maybe in the long run, you could say, well, yeah, it's going to get there. NAM, as far as I know, as far as I've seen anyone say, even as bad as the turnout was this year, it's I well. So one thing I got in
You say it's a bad turn. I want to preface that it was way bigger than Summer NAMM, and it felt like
oh
it
yeah,
was at least worthwhile being there, even though I got horribly ill from being there.
yeah. I
It
heard a
felt it
number.
felt like it was worthwhile that it existed.
I heard a number of people call it some super summer NAM, but not 2021 summer NAM, but like the old, like the
Oh yeah.
2019 summer NAM,
Oh totally. No, yeah.
which I didn't go to. This year I think was the first year that the West Coast NAM was like selling tickets to the public, like
Mm,
openly selling tickets. I was told, actually, this wasn't what I was told. I think it was announced that they had about 115,000 this year, which actually, I think in previous years they were
explains
around
why I got
100
COVID.
130 to 140,000. And then I heard that they actually, and maybe you got a better perception of this, that the vendor turnout or the exhibitor turnout was like 70% lower
Mm.
than normal,
No,
which
that tracks.
you think it was 70% lower. I mean,
Yeah, I think so.
I thought that number. I know the attendance is about 30% lower, but I think the way that they set up the halls, if it was really that low, like over half of the normal exhibitors were missing.
Yeah.
Um, I didn't see it, but I guess the basement was closed.
The basement was
Um,
closed. Also, there's buildings that normally have stuff in it that didn't have anything in it.
right, and that's a thing that like I guess I didn't think about because I don't like I was talking back and forth with Blake about it on the Guitar Nerds Facebook group, and he mentioned 30%. I was like, well, I know the attendance was down 30%, but he said it was 30% of normal vendors. And I was like, are you sure it wasn't 30% down? But as I thought about it, the way that they were, like you said, the Yamaha was in the main building, which they
Right.
normally aren't. The basement was closed.
They
At
usually have that
least
like stadium area that
was that not open?
I don't
Okay,
think it
so that's a
was.
big loss. And then the
And
way
they
that
have
they
that other building that's next to the stadium area that's like the newer building from like 4 years
right,
ago that they finished. And I
right.
don't think anything was going on
Oh
there.
wow. So maybe it was just like in the guitar space, it felt like a few big names were missing, but it felt normal. It felt
It
comfortable size to
right.
me. But maybe the normal NAM was just so overpacked that I was like, oh, I can breathe a little bit.
I mean, usually in that main hall where all the guitar stuff is, usually you get to the edges and things get a little bit fringe, you know. Uh, but this time, like that, they had all the like a significant portion of the side of that hall just wasn't populated at all, and they
Yeah,
had
it
it
was,
roped
and
off.
they had a lot of it roped off or curtained off,
And then
which I think added to making it feel crowded, even though it wasn't necessarily.
usually the guitar stuff spills into the next hall over and
Right.
into the basement, and that wasn't happening this year. And the next halls over, they were all cut off with curtains like
Hmm.
40% away back from the back of the hall. So like it's really easy to be like, oh, everything in this building is at least like 40 to 50% less than
Yeah.
normal. And then you factor in the other buildings, and it's like, yeah, I see where 70% smaller comes from
Yeah.
easily.
So
Yeah.
that's like I said, I needed to be walked through specifically because I think the way that they curtained it off made it, like I said,
Oh, no,
it felt
yeah,
good. But then, like, also when I take a step back and I start thinking about all the brands that weren't there,
sure.
um, then I'm like, well, no, that is probably like 70% of the brands that I'm used to seeing
It'll be
are
interesting to
missing.
see how NAM changes in the future because there's a lot of brands like Walrus
Hmm.
that packed a small booth.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
usually do a booth that's like the size of four small booths.
Mhm.
They get the bigger booth, but they did a regular size small booth, a single booth size sort of situation, and it looked like they were having a great time and they felt really good about it. We might see brands just pull back in general and just try to do NAMM cheaper in the future, even though they're just going to be there and they're
Mhm.
going to do their thing, but try to do it on the cheap and treat it more like, well, if you can find room at the booth, then you're here. If you can't, then we have a crowd, and then that's kind of
Yeah. I
marketing
mean,
its way.
I think it's tough where they're at right now because they're trying to get people to show up and whatever.
Right.
But they, uh, the reason that some of these companies have really small booths and really simple booths is because the cost of, oh, are you a NAM member? Yes. Okay. Well, here's
Right.
your fee for entrance. And it's like, well, by the time you put like four guys on and with their entrance fees, you're like, well, that's if I pay for a fifth guy, I can just get a booth
Yeah.
instead, and then it becomes like worth the trip. Well,
Yeah. NAM charged people money that they normally wouldn't charge money to be there and things like that. Like NAM members were having to pay money to be there in
yeah.
ways they haven't had to in the past. But also something I think is interesting is I was hearing from a lot of the brands is that NAM chilled way the F out on lots of details that they used to be sticklers for
Right.
because
Right.
the vibe is like they need people to have a decent experience and come back in the future because NAM is feeling what everyone is thinking is, do we need
hmm
NAM? You
Yeah, I heard
know,
the pressure to build the booths. Like there was more. Usually, I guess it's more NAM personnel who build the booths. And I
yeah.
guess this year they kind of let the companies build, like if the
Well, it's like
companies just need to do simple stuff, they let the companies do it.
it's supposed to be like a union thing or
Right.
whatever. And what it sounds like is what they did is instead of being really anal retentive about like these are our guys, these are the guys that have to build it, the
hmm
union guys still did their work, but there was a supervising role where they stood
Right.
there and watched the brands build their booths, which should be the way it is. Like I get union stuff or whatever with a convention center, but it's like these people built these booths over and over again
hmm
for
hmm
all sorts of other events, and then like they're supposed to show up and watch two guys who have never seen their booth before like try to put
Yeah.
it together. Like
Yeah.
it seems really inefficient.
Yeah.
So
No, for
everyone
sure.
was happy about that, but there's also lots of things where like getting your badges was a lot more streamlined and easy,
hmm hmm
and registration was easier for a lot of people, and a lot of the other details that most people would never know about or care about were a lot easier.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to hear that that was going on.
I think it'll be interesting to see if any of the because I think inside some of the companies there's still definitely a err on the side of caution. So I know some companies were out, like for example, music group, the the Behringer people,
Yes, yes.
Behringer, uh, what's TC Electronic, all of that, right? They were kind of out. They were out before everything. They were
Yeah,
out.
they got
They
out like
didn't go
3
to
years
NAM
ago.
2020. Um, Gibson wasn't at Summer NAM, but a lot of people assumed that it was just because of
The
they had the
buildings down the
Gibson
street.
garage there in
Yeah.
Nashville. So what was the point? Um, I think Fender dropping out was kind of a thing where when that happened, like that you lose a lot of brands there. But I think it'll be interesting to see if any of those brands come back just for
Yeah.
the spectacle of it or whatever. And I think like I said, I think a lot of companies were kind of erring on the side of caution. It sounded like I forget what are they called now? They just got a new name. Um, the Band Lab people. They just
Oh
got a
yeah. I forgot their new name. It bummed me out when I found out they have a new
uh,
name.
Caldecott Music Group.
Yeah, I'm never going to
So,
remember that.
well, I know I kind of understand why they did it. It's because it's kind of like the alphabet thing, you
Right.
know, where it's like, well, Band Lab was everything, but if you think of Band Lab as like a digital brand, and then um, Harmony by Band Lab, it sounds really weird. But Harmony is under the umbrella of Vista Musical Instruments, which at least sounds
Mm,
like a
yeah.
musical instrument company, versus BandLab Technologies makes it sound like a bunch of like tech dweebs are trying to run a guitar
I
company.
guess. I don't know. I have fond memories of hanging out with our old BandLab
Yeah.
contact. So
So my only point was it sounded like they were in until like kind of the last minute, and then they were out. So I wouldn't be surprised to see BandLab back in the
yeah.
future.
Well, here's the thing. Here's my kind of pitch to anyone at NAMM who's listening right now. I doubt anyone is, but
Well, we have to
I've
send this episode to them to prove that we covered
oh my gosh, no, we don't.
the trade show. Otherwise, they won't invite us back.
Here's the vibe and here's the challenge. The brands know they don't need NAMM anymore.
Mm-hmm.
They've all done business just fine for a couple of years without NAMM, and they're looking at the NAMM they just had and asking the question, do we need this? I don't think anyone's ever going to need NAMM again. But if NAMM can figure out a way to make people want NAMM, then that's the ticket to the future. If they can make it so that it's enriching towards, the relationships between builders, enriching relationships in between builders and fans, in between builders and media, because I think the ship has sailed as far as like needing NAMM to exist for business to business relationships.
Right.
But like,
right.
Making it a marketing thing, making it a media blitz thing, making it a community thing, like I think those are the ways that they need to explore, making it so that the industry wants there to be NAMM. Because if it's difficult, like if there's not a social payoff, if there's not a marketing payoff, then people are just going to say we don't need it and we don't want it.
Yeah. So that's I kind of had a little bit of this conversation with some of the Get Offset fan group, I guess, a Patreon group with Tom Kelly, who I think is also one of our where we're talking about, NAMM functions as a community event for us, basically,
Yes.
but if the brands start dropping out for whatever reason, whether it's NAMM is too expensive or whatever, how do is there something that can replace that? And what we saw in the last, I think, year, there have been some small efforts over the years, really. So going back like I don't know 10 years now, maybe there was in Atlanta there was the Gear Talk Expo. I think they did that for 2 years. In the Northeast, they had Fear the Riff. I think Tom brought this up. They had the Fear the Riff Expo in Brooklyn, and Blake Wyland's actually from the Tone Mob, I think, went out for that. And that's a really popular, like New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, that whole Atlantic seaboard and New England pedal world kind of goes to that thing. But I don't know like what kind of momentum it takes to bring in everyone. If you're in Ohio and Indiana and Kentucky and West Virginia, then maybe you're going to make the drive to Earthquaker Day. But I think it's hard to
There's really the
both
only reason for there
the
to
community
be
and the brands.
Yeah, the only reason there is to have a convention that has brands from all sorts of different walks of the music instrument industry is for retailers. Because if it's not built around connecting builders and brands to retailers, buyers and sellers, then it really is just a public exposition. And in that case, you can pare it down to be more genre specific. I mean, like, here is guitar NAMM. Here is live sound NAMM. Here is here is wind instrument NAMM, band instrument NAMM.
Right.
Here is folk instrument NAMM. Or maybe it can just be like everything with strings. It's string NAMM, And I think they could segment it that way. And there could be a NAMM every 2 months, in smaller venues around the country. Because if it's just for catering to individual industries that want to socialize, because no one in the guitar halls is going over and chatting with the saxophone people.
Right.
All these things don't need to be together if the functionality of builder to retailer isn't important anymore, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think, there's things that could be done. I just think one, probably the brands that could make it. I think the biggest thing is I think the brand, NAMM exists.
It does. Yeah,
Um,
that's true.
and what I mean by that
So deep.
is to replace NAMM. I think the amount of momentum it would take to do something that's even like, say, super regional, right? Like not
Sure.
just because NAMM is an international event. I think doing a national event, as soon as you make something at least in the US, it's a national event, it might as well be at least a North American event. Um, and I guess maybe the equivalent in Europe would have been like Music Messa. I don't know if that
Yeah.
still happens, but when it
I
was
think it's
happening,
Yeah, I think that petered out before COVID.
yeah.
Like,
I mean, I don't really, I don't keep tabs on that.
sure.
Um, I think doing a regional guitar shows still happen. Like the Del Mar Fair every once in a while, I think
Right.
still has is it
Like
Crossroads of the West or whatever? Just
guitars of the West thing,
yeah,
whatever.
we just don't go. And like the LA Amp show was still happening up until COVID. We just don't go, and that's like like regional, potentially super regional event. But even for us, it's like, is this a thing we want to go to? Dallas Guitar Show. There are people who will drive from puts on these different shows. Uh, Dallas International Guitar Festival. Is that the one I'm thinking of? That's the one I'm thinking of, but I don't know who puts it on. If that's the one I'm thinking of that has like a specific brand that puts it on. I'm not seeing.
Some
But there's these different events like that, but they're all kind of like regional and maybe super regional, but definitely, you know, nothing where for us, maybe that like the Dallas Guitar Show could be something that you could do a road trip on,
Sure.
but at the same time, like there's no one reaching out going like, oh, can you go do this thing?
Right, right. And it's also like a little thought I've been having because I didn't film very much at this. I didn't film at all at this NAM, and I
Hmm.
realized afterwards the reason I didn't really feel motivated to film is because usually I show up and it's like Fender's going to have, all dozen of the Squires that I haven't been able to check out yet. And I'm going to film every single Squire that's new, or I'm going to film every single Epiphone
Right.
that's new. I'm going to go to these major brand booths and cover everything that's new. And Ibanez was there, but they didn't have anything that
Hmm.
was like, oh, this is something that would work on the channel. There's
Right.
wasn't really anything like that. And going to those kind of like regional guitar shows is kind of the same thing as what NAM was, where it's like,
Hmm.
oh, here's a bunch of small builders. That's awesome. I want to talk to these people, but there's really not a lot of reason for me to film these things because the business model of the channel is, kind of appealing to things that are going to be retail, and things that I'm going to be able to find links for and stuff like that. Are you frozen right now?
Hmm. No, nope. I was for a second. It dropped out, but I
your
don't know if it was on your end or my end.
your video is frozen like you. So yeah, that's kind of my take on it. Is like I don't think I need to show up and be so anal retentive and so gung ho to film everything at these events anymore. Maybe it's time to just go to things and
Right.
hang out and chat with everyone the way that everyone else does, and stop thinking that I need to be a
Hmm.
superhero who comes with home with 40 videos at these things. But maybe NAM will come back to its old glory,
Well,
and
well,
I'll
I
change my
think
tune. I don't know. You there?
well, say they stay with this model. Um, are you hearing me?
Yeah, now I am. Just we
Okay.
should we
So
should
say they stay with this model where
we should
they go
probably
when they
wrap this up because you are on a wild delay right now.
okay, I'll just say this last thing. If
Okay.
they stay public, where they have public, what I could see in the future is maybe NAM bounces back, but they stay public, so more people come out, and then the big filming thing would just be a 3 hour like, hey, we're going to be at this booth for 3 hours with the mics on. So if you want to come by, cameras rolling, mics are on, come by, say something.
Yeah, maybe. I've thought about stuff like that.
Just be the main content.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's wrap this up, Steve. You want to tell us about a song that we can play at the end, and we'll call it a night.
Let's pick a song. Let me just pick it off my phone, but we're not going to play it. Well, that's sad.
No, but I got to do some light editing to this, so I'll tag it to the end. We're not going to listen to you and me, but we'll do old school. We'll mention the song, and then everyone else can hear it while the stuff.
So this song is going to be sent by Mike Myers. I don't know if he.
Ooh, scary.
Yeah, I don't know which Mike Myers this
or
is.
Funny.
He says, "Hi, my name is Mike Myers. I've attached one of my songs for submission to the podcast. I should have mentioned this. This is by my band 73's album Please Stand By. All guitars by Shane Lloyd, bass, guitar, and vocals Mike Myers, drums, Pro Tools and a lot of programming, and Steven Slate drums. Song is written by Shane Lloyd and Mike Myers. Hi, my name is said that already. This song is called Where I got to download it. So Where You're At Tonight. That is the name of the song that we're going to play. Unfortunately, like Ryan mentioned, we're doing this old school, so we're not going to listen to it. But we'll listen to it when it comes out. You'll listen to it. So.
Maybe I'll throw editing Ryan in to add a few notes here and there or something like that. Now I've committed to it. Now I have to do it. Dang it, I just made work for myself.
Gotcha.
So, anyways, thanks for watching, everyone. Sorry this episode's pretty different. The episode after this might be very different too, because I have a feeling we're going to film it at Gearfest. And then eventually we'll get back to doing normal content again, depending on how things are going.
We could film it on the plane. We could film it on the plane.
We could film it on the plane. We've done that before. No, I'm honestly planning on us getting a bunch of podcast content at Gearfest. Like I think that I want that to be a big focus throughout the day. Like I'm hoping for 2 episodes a day at Gearfest, and we're going to be there 3 days.
Dang.
So yeah, that's where my head is right now. So that won't be every week. Maybe we'll do every other week launching those or something like that, but maybe you'll buy us some free time during the summer. That's kind of my thought.
Sounds good.
Yeah. And we're both going to be there, and we can grab other people to be on the podcast. Maybe we want to grab Tim Pierce or something like that. But hey, podcast with us, or grab Jason or Emily or whoever else is around and wants to be on the show. We can have some fun and just set up some mics and sit around Sweetwater and chat. All right. Enjoy the song, guys, and stay grounded.
See ya.
Thinking it's